answering the MC's questions. All right. 1. Motivated by moonlight, the soft call of the morning dove, poetry, courage, and abiding love. 2. I try to be a witness to my times, to live in a sacred manner, to love well and long, to be true, and to work my way to usefulness. 3. I knew one afternoon in the hills of the Blue Ridge that nature is alive. I was 5. We published a book called Small Stories, Big Changes, Agents of Change on the Front Lines of Sustainability. It's a little long title. But it got some legs, and we've done a couple of reading residencies in American colleges, and we've always done them as salons, and consequently I've never read even a bit out loud out of it, and I thought I might. And this also is another way of sending a message from North Carolina. This is called Writing in Ceremony and Service to the Wild. It's 6 a.m. and I have come downstairs quietly to write. Later, Ilana will call me back to bed and I'll slip under the covers with a quick joy. But now I have to concentrate on winter solstice. When I am organizing 2 services, one at the new Buddhist temple and one around the bonfire at Stone Circles, my favorite social justice resource center. We will gather to birth the sun, to affirm the lessons of the dark and welcome the light, as people have done for thousands of years. And one of my jobs is to prepare the wisdom teaching for the solstice. This morning I'm inspired by the litany of all that is happening in the natural world. And on December 21st, 2011, under our feet and above our heads and into every dark, rich corner, I'm writing red-winged hawks are making a harvest of first-year squirrels now that the leaf cover is down, and woodchucks and eastern chipmunks have dug to their winter sleeping lairs. Noisy flocks of crows and blue jays and robins gather at the margins of fields. Red-backed salamanders are on the move, and on sudden warm days American bird grasshoppers will rise and fly. The winter forms of the hop merchant butterfly have drunk their last drop of the year's sun and rest in diapause. Tiny screech owls are calling from the woods on still nights, and soon yearling bucks will lose their antlers. I have not yet written about the movement of the stars Venus in Aquarius, the night sky dominated by marching Orion, or the winter green on the forest floor, cranefly, orchid, rattlesnake, plantain, wild ginger, pipsiscilla, or even about the teeming lives under the leaf litter. But I will. It's one of my disciplines to try to use thick description to mark the turnings of the natural world. The words I midwife spread like winter birds: brown creepers, hermit thrushes, ruby-crowned kinglets, yellow-rumped warblers, and are read at weddings, birthdays, and significant public events. Sometimes I sing them, and sometimes others do. Memory that old fool. An accidental slideshow. Up in the mountains where I'm from, there's a ball that's old and round, and from its top you can hear the world call it naked ground. Folks call it naked ground. My grandpa Holloway loved to hunt coon, and he run beautiful black and tan hounds. Sometimes he would collect me from the little side porch I slept in and loose the dogs, and we would roam the deep night together for hours, up mountain and down valley. Grandma Etta was kind of a hill witch, all shy and wild. It was from her that most of the Cherokee come into the Holloways, and I have a secret cunning that was transmitted directly from her to me. What is memory? Memory is a stew placed over an open fire to percolate and bubble and make something of itself. Sometimes that fire is called the soul, but the stew is who we are. I know that memory is not linear, like a road, but more like a vast boulder field of treasure and regret. I know that not even a photograph tells a tale, but merely implies it. For the tale includes the relationship between the seller and the seen or unseen listener, and the relationship between the listener and all the tales that construct who they are. That's my dad there with his sister Ethel. This photograph says 1955. I'm with my sweet cousin Norma. We're naked and running off to explore some wild side creek of white oak. Memory is an old fence now running to a mysterious location, more landmark than destination, and never ever the same place twice, no matter how vigorously remembrance imitates itself. Grandma and Grandpa Phillips were sharecroppers, one of the hardest ways to make a living in this world. She come out of the Prices from South Carolina, and her family was all over the color line. And she was one of the great loves of my life, Lily Price Phillips. Here's Grandma and Aunt Zilly coming in from the barn, taken in the 1930s. Zilly was 13 at the time. When I showed my dad this picture, he got misty and said, "That cow raised me." This sweet strained creature is Nell, a cotton mule who lived to be 36 years old and died after I left for college. Along the brittle, treacherous, bright streets of memory comes my heart, singing like an idiot, whispering like a drunken man, said E. Cummings. By the way, that's me on the left with my brother Carol. I don't know where this is from, but it reminds me of a place we killed hogs every summer. People would come from all around to help in the slaughter, bringing their own knives and tools. My Aunt Eulalia would cook up potloads of chitlins, and I would hide. Ah, memory. What happens when it flies or scatters like a covey of quail? FDR was famous for saying no man or force can abolish memory, but we know him to be at least partly wrong. 1,000 reasons, accident, dementia, fear can wound memory and make it hide or adopt elaborate disguises. That little girl is my mother, that much I know. Wendell Berry says that our memory of ourselves, hard-earned, is one of the land's seeds, as a seed is the memory of the life of its kind in its place, to pass on into life the knowledge of what has died. How often do we picture the way ahead and dream of it and plan? But the actual road is never the dreamed one, and the sights we set out to see are never the scenes that we remember. It is not the cathedral that lives, it is something else, the sudden and the unexpected. Not the great framed thing, but a mist, an expression, a face, or a whisper. Often it is the fragile things of a moment that never die. The lines of a mountain lie in the mind, a sunset never fades, a peach blossom never shatters. The light of a star shines on, and there is a dim glimmer of the distant lightning, and the good that one has done and the evil. It is regret that never dies. Like other Southerners, I have known from the start that we would be obliged to find what it is we look for within ourselves. This is a picture of my Uncle Junie and a friend sometime after World War II. A couple of naked men with dogs in their laps. I don't know a thing about the picture or what the story is, but I'd love to find out. To wear red shoes, after Olga Noya. Olga Noya was a Puerto Rican poet in the 1930s who wrote a poem called To Wear Red Shoes. I love being a man. To be 58 years old, to live my life without armor, to trust women and have them trust me, to write my poems, to cook with men, to make exquisite food out of the simplest ingredients. To talk about hunger with my women friends, to sleep with my wife, languid, sated, cradled, to dress in my own style and prepare my own clothes, to dress with happiness and style, to wear red shoes, to cut my hair short and sensual, this is for Nick, to sleep in the daytime and roam until dawn, to dream of the poems I want to write, to read books written by women, to talk with women in the market, to work with women caring for the world, to listen as the rain collides on my tin roof, to be enveloped in thunder, to run the waves and fall into the sea, to tell Eve, you did the right thing. You are doomed to run.